Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the John DeVito Show. And we are a little over 1 week away from Christmas. And, this is the time of year when you start getting excited. We're listening to Christmas music. We're listening, we're watching Lifetime movies. And it's funny, right now, actually, I'm in my house, and a good friend sent us a menorah this year for Hanukkah. Now, I'm not Jewish, but with everything that's been going on between Israel and Palestine, I was thrilled to get a menorah from our good friend. And tonight, as of right now, we have it lit. Tonight's the final night of Hanukkah. So for the first time in my life, we're celebrating Hanukkah this year as well, even though I'm not Jewish. It's just a nice little tradition that I think we're going to continue. But that being said, we're 1 week away from Christmas. And if you have young kids, good luck for this next week. We all know what it's like when you have young kids at this time of year. Now, my daughter is babysitting two young boys tonight, and I can't imagine what she's going to be in for. We were talking about that. They haven't seen her in quite some time because she's been in college. She's been babysitting them for quite some time, so they really missed her. So the parents called my daughter and asked if she could babysit tonight. She's going to do it. So I'm saying to her, good luck, because they're going to be bouncing off the walls, waiting for Christmas, talking about Santa Claus, but it'll be a fun time. And honestly, I kind of miss that type of thing when, my kids were little. I mean, they used to get so excited for the week before Christmas. And we still have this one picture that we took with all four of them in front of the tree in matching pajamas when they were young. And their faces, they looked like they were ready to explode. And that was the picture we used that particular year for our Christmas card that we sent out to friends and family. So just a lot of good memories. And we did so many good things over the years. One of my favorite things I think we ever did during Christmas is when the kids were little, we used to get in the car, and we live in Massachusetts. So we'd drive up to either Lincoln, New Hampshire, or North Conway, New Hampshire, and we would go to the Polar Express. And we would literally get on a train, take like a short, maybe 15-minute train ride, and then we would arrive at the North Pole. And when we got there, the elves would be waiting outside with lanterns, and they would literally take us up to the North Pole, and they would come out and read the Polar Express, and then Santa would come out to meet all the children. And we all got to go home with bells, and the kids got hot chocolate on the train, and it was just a magical time. And I feel so fortunate that we were able to live through that and enjoy that. And I think back on my childhood, we had a lot of good traditions when I was young also. I mean, I used to get so excited for Christmas, and I'll never forget when I was little, I would go on Christmas Eve to pick up my grandmother who lived up in Amesbury, Massachusetts. I grew up in southern New Hampshire. So I was so excited to go get my grandmother with my dad. I'd get in the car, we'd pick her up, and she would sleep at our house on Christmas Eve. And then the next morning, of course, we'd get up and open the presents. And then we would go with my grandmother and drive down near Boston and see my other grandmother, my Nana. And we would then spend the day there, open more presents, have a big meal, and the whole family was there, my uncles. It was just magical to think back on those memories. So for the parents out there that have young children, squeeze every bit of it you can out of this holiday season. Enjoy Christmas, come up with new traditions, and these are going to be things that you remember for the rest of your life. Now, I figured I would give you some ideas because sometimes, if you're busy working adults, you don't have a lot of time, and it doesn't always have to be big, expensive, grand gestures that you do with your children. It can be sometimes the simplest things. So I came across a list that I really liked from the Pioneer Woman, excuse me. And this is the 40 best Christmas traditions to make the holiday season even more special. So let's get on these, talk about some of these. I've done a lot of these myself with my family, and hopefully some of these, if you're struggling for some ideas of things to do at Christmas time, this might be a really nice thing. Or some of these might be nice for you to do with your children, or have your children do them, or just do them as a family, because you got to enjoy every Christmas that you have, because life is short and you don't know who maybe won't be here next Christmas. So you've got to enjoy it while you can and just squeeze every bit of the fun without the anxiety around Christmas. Because really, when it's said and done, when the kids are getting older, they're not going to remember what they got for a Christmas present when they were 7 years old, but they will remember what they did with the family. So I think the memories have a more lasting effect than even the gifts, and that's what we focus on so much of the gifts. I mean, of course, they're important, and children love gifts, but honestly, the memories are what stick, and I'm seeing that more and more now as my kids get older. So number one on the list. I like this one. A lot of kids do this. Our post office has like a little mailbox specifically for letters to Santa Claus. So have the kids sit down, write a letter to Santa Claus, help them write it. It's such an exciting thing. Maybe drive down to the post office, mail it to Santa Claus. And it's just an amazing thing for a kid to think that he's actually sending a note, a handwritten note to Santa, asking Santa for certain presents. And of course, it gives you a great guideline to know what you need to buy your son also, which is perfect, or your daughter. So number one, write a letter to Santa. I like that a lot. Number two, love this. Drive around and see Christmas lights or holiday lights. I love doing this. The next town over from us, they have a light fight, and we get a map of all the houses that are participating. And you get to drive around and really see some amazing homes. So people put a lot of time into these lights and driving around, maybe sipping some cocoa with the kids, and um, seeing the lights is just an amazing experience. Now, this just made me. I hadn't thought of this. This made me remember a very funny story when my kids were little. Hang in there, you guys will like this one. One night when our kids were little, we decided, my wife and I got them in the car. They were in their pajamas, and we were going to drive around and look at Christmas lights. So we drove into this one big neighborhood near where we live, and we pulled up and we saw a bunch of cars out in front of a house, and we literally saw Santa Claus standing by his car. So my kids are like, "Oh my God, it's Santa Claus! It's Santa Claus!" And we're out with our kids. We're like, "Oh, wonderful! We'll stop and say hi to Santa." So we stop. We roll down the windows, okay? And this Santa Claus was the drunkest Santa Claus I have ever seen in my life. This guy could barely stand up. He started talking to us. He was dropping F bombs while he was speaking to us with my kids in the back. And then all of a sudden we're like, "Hey, Santa, well, good to see you. We're going to keep driving. Have a good night, Santa." And we get in the car, and the kids were silent in the back. And one of them said, literally, "What was wrong with Santa Claus?" And I remember saying, "Oh, Santa Claus is fine. He was at a party, just having a good time, and he's blowing off some stress before he has to deliver the presents." But Santa Claus was loaded. And still, that's a story that we still talk about today. We didn't anticipate that happening, but it really is one of the best memories we have from when the kids were little. A very funny message, a story that my kids all remember. All right. So another one, and we did this last year for the first time in a long time. Attend a midnight mass or church service. We hadn't been to midnight mass in a long time. We decided to go last year, and they actually have it at 10 o'clock in our Catholic church. But we went to the midnight mass church service. It was beautiful. The whole church was singing Christmas songs. Our kids were into it, and the priest literally gave one of the best sermons I think I've ever heard a priest give. I mean, even my daughter was like, "Oh my God, he nailed that." It was beautiful. So honestly, this year, I can't wait. We're going to go back again. Even though my kids are older, I believe that they're all going to be coming with us. And it's just an amazing thing. So, and some churches, if your kid's a little, sometimes they have like maybe a 6 p.m. Midnight mass. What I just saw in the next town over from us, they're going to be having like a midnight mass, quote unquote, out by their nativity outdoors. And we live in a cold climate here in Massachusetts. And literally, they're going to have a whole mass out by their nativity, which is pretty cool. So attending a midnight mass, a great thing to do. Number four, go ice skating. Especially this is a good date thing to do. For me, it would not have been a good date thing to do because I can't skate very well. So the girl I was with would have had to, pick me up constantly. And I'm a big guy, so when I go down hard. So, but ice skating is a fun thing to do. Most of these places you can rent skates, and it's really a fun thing to do on a date. If you bring little kids, just be prepared to nurse all the bumps and bruises after they go. But it's really a nice thing to do, and I would recommend that. All right, the next thing on the list, I like this: going shopping in a Christmas market. We actually did this a few weeks ago. We went to actually a Christmas fair at a local school district, and it was really big. I couldn't believe how many craft people were in there, and we really had a nice time doing that. So going shopping, going to a Christmas market, supporting small businesses, all great things. Number 6 on the list, can't beat this one. Watch classic Christmas movies. I have so many that I love. I mean, I love all versions of A Christmas Carol. I especially love the one, I think it's from 1951 with Alistair Sam. There are a few that I really like. It's a Wonderful Life, my favorite movie of all time that I really watched for the first time during kind of a difficult point of my life. And it was something that really kind of helped me get in a good place with my life. So if you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life, beautiful movie. I love it. I don't miss it. I haven't watched it yet this year, but I will. The comedies, of course, Christmas Vacation. One of the really good ones that we saw recently. If you like comedy Christmas movies, if you haven't seen Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon, hilarious movie, really funny. So if you haven't seen that one, check it out, and you can watch that with the family as well. All right, number seven. This is a good one. We do this every year. Countdown to Christmas with your Advent calendar. Put a little treat in every day for the kids, but this is something that really builds the excitement, and we've done that for many, many years. I like that one a lot. My daughter actually did this one last night, and I wish this was a video. I could show you a picture, but my daughter last night made a gingerbread house with my youngest son, and it's beautiful. It came out amazing. This is such a nice family tradition, and in our town where I live, we have a festival of trees where they have a tree decorating competition and a gingerbread house competition, which is really special. You can go in as a community and vote for whichever one you think is the best. So, great thing to do with the family. Number nine, attend a Christmas parade. I still remember as a kid, I grew up in southern New Hampshire, in Atkinson, New Hampshire. I used to go to a Christmas parade in Haverhill, Massachusetts. And oh my God, when you saw Santa Claus up on his sleigh on a float at the end of the play, I remember it felt like I was dreaming. You were like in another world. It was bigger than life. And as a kid, it was just so amazing. So, attend a Christmas party, great idea. And I think if you can do it, a parade, excuse me. If you can do it, get to one. It might be a little chilly. Just dress warm, bring some hot cocoa, and enjoy every minute of it. So, and I know that some communities do different things. Like some communities, my old town of Atkinson, they ride Santa Claus around in a fire engine. Here in my town, they do the same thing, and you can actually book an appointment with Santa Claus to have him drive by your house on the fire engine and stop and say hello, which is kind of cool. So I'm sure that's going to be happening soon in my town. Number 10, this is a give or take. Take family photos. I mean, if you can take family photos and it doesn't turn into a yelling and crying session, that's a good thing. But I think sometimes, when you have young ones especially, to try to get that right pose sometimes is almost impossible. So make sure if it's turning into a torturous event, maybe create your Christmas card with photos you took throughout the year. But I mean, taking family photos is a good thing to do because as your kids get older, it's nice to look back upon those memories. All right, next one. This is a cool thing to do. Making paper snowflakes. That's something if you're a little bit artsy, you can do that. I remember doing that in school as a kid. And I always thought that was cool. So yeah, making paper snowflakes and maybe even using some of those to put on your windows or decorate the house would be nice. All right, of course, this is a staple. Bring the kids to meet Santa. You can go to a mall. Most places have Santa appearing. So I'm sure you can find a place that has Santa Claus. And when the kids are little, especially, to get to sit on Santa Claus's lap and tell him what you want for Christmas, it's just huge. So don't miss this opportunity to get pictures with Santa and your kids because you're going to cherish those for a long time. All right, number 13, sip eggnog. Now, eggnog's one of those things. Either you love it or you hate it. I'm one of those people that loves it. I love eggnog. This past week, we ran out of cream for our coffee, and we had eggnog in the fridge, and I used eggnog for 3 days in a row, and it replaced the cream just fine. So, sipping eggnog, great thing to do. Number 14. Now, it says cook a Christmas feast. I will gladly eat a Christmas feast. I'm not much of a chef, but my wife is a very good cook. So she cooks the Christmas feast, and I eat the Christmas feast. And for me, at Christmas time, I love roast beef. So I'm kind of hoping we get that this year. We don't have roast beef too often, but for Christmas, for me, that is literally my favorite meal. So I may have to talk to my wife tonight and pleasantly suggest roast beef, or maybe just go out and buy one. So who knows? All right, number 15, leave cookies out for Santa. You leave out the cookies, you leave out the milk. Santa gets a snack. Whatever Santa doesn't eat, if he gets full, Mom and dad get to eat the rest of it. So it's all good, right? So that's a good one to do. Number 16, this is an amazing thing to do, is go Christmas caroling. When we moved to the town that we're in now, this is the second house we've lived at in this town. When we first moved here, we were younger, we had a little bit smaller house, and we lived in a neighborhood, a really nice neighborhood. And one night we heard singing. We went to the window, and there was about a dozen Christmas carolers with candles out singing for us. It was such a wonderful memory. I'll never forget that. I mean, I remember we had moved from near the Boston area out to rural Massachusetts. And I remember thinking, wow, look where we moved. The people come to your house and sing Christmas carols. But even if you go out and do it, it's an amazing thing to do. So if you can get out and you have a group that does it, maybe with a church or something, get involved to do it. It's a lot of fun, and the kids will remember it. Number 17, set out a nativity scene. Love nativity scenes. I think it's very important to remember what Christmas is truly about, not just Santa Claus and presents. So teaching kids when they're little what the true meaning of Christmas is, and maybe having a really nice nativity scene to put out is a great thing to do, and it really gives you a little reminder the true meaning of the season. Number 18, I don't think oh, this is pretty though. Okay, there's a picture for me. Create a Christmas tablescape. I didn't know what a tablescape was, but it's like a long line of like these little mini Christmas trees that they have stretched out all around, all over their dining room table, and it looks absolutely beautiful. So I've never done that before. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but it's absolutely beautiful. So, if you don't know what that is, you can Google create a Christmas tablescape, and I'm sure you'll see some pictures and videos pop up. That's amazing. All right, number 19, make mini Christmas row houses. Now, this looks kind of hard. I don't know if this is edible or not, but I'm going to read the description under this one so I get a better idea. They're really pretty, but these whimsical pastel houses are sure to charm all of your holiday guests. The little detail are what make this display so impressive. Just look at the adorable mini wreaths and snowmen. It is beautiful. So I haven't seen these really before, but it's really cute. And I guess you make this as like a little decoration, and you could possibly put this on your mantelpiece or something like that as a Christmas decoration. And it's beautiful. So that's something to think about. I got to pick up the speed here. I'm only at number 20. And I'm not sure how long I've been talking for. I've been talking for 17 minutes. So this is a long podcast. So I'm going to pick up the speed. I try to keep these under 20 minutes. I think I'm going to bleed to maybe 25 minutes here. But let's get moving on this list. Number 20, organize a Secret Santa. Great idea for parties. Number 21, I like this a lot. Celebrate Sinterklaas. And that is actually a Dutch tradition known as St. Nicholas's Day. It's celebrated on December 5th each year. The night before, children leave their shoes by the fireplace with their socks, hoping that Santa Claus will bring them a small gift or something to that effect. And if you actually study the story of Santa Claus saved a young family back in a long time ago in for having to sell their child into slavery. And this man who was very wealthy in the town came to their house. There was an open window and threw gold coins in through the window. They landed on socks by the fireplace, and that's why people initially started putting socks up, hoping Santa Claus would come and give them gold at Christmas time. That's why we still do it today. But anyway, celebrating Santa Claus is a great thing to do. I love it. Number 22, buy a real Christmas tree. Whenever I think of that, I think of Christmas Vacation, where the daughter was frozen from the waist down out in the woods. But it is a great thing to do, and you should do it when the kids are little because it's a memory they'll remember. Number 23, we've done this. Getting matching holiday pajamas. Number 24, make some cinnamon rolls. Can't go wrong with cinnamon rolls, right? Those are amazing. Number 25, assemble cookie platters. So, man, those cookie platters, I'm looking at this right now. They look absolutely amazing. Oh, my goodness. I can't take this. I'm going to have to go on. I'm on a diet right now, trying to stay in good shape, and this is going to completely ruin my diet, seeing these things. So, oh my goodness. All right, so I just lost my place for a second. Hold on. My phone scrolled on me. All right, here we go. So the next one. Oh, this is a good one. Wearing ugly Christmas sweaters. Love that. I have a couple of those. I actually won a Christmas party ugly sweater contest once, and I'm still very proud of that. I've got the ribbon still on the sweater. Number 27, visit a Christmas town. Great idea. And that's similar to what we did when we used to go to the Polar Express when we were kids. And there are towns all around that really celebrate Christmas. And it's great to visit one of those. Number 28, host a white elephant gift exchange. So if you don't know what that is, a white elephant gift exchange is always good for a laugh. your friends and families will have so much fun competing for the best gifts in the game. And it's really a lot of fun to have one of those. So you can check one of those out and maybe host one of those at some point for your Christmas party. This is a good one here. Starting a Christmas village collection. My grandmother used to have a beautiful Christmas village, and I think about that all the time. That was the highlight of the decorations at her house that I used to love. And just good memories of that. Wonderful memories of my grandmother's house at Christmas. Number 30, dress up your pets. We actually went to a costume contest with our dog. It was actually for Halloween. We haven't seen anybody for Christmas, but I think dressing your dog up in a Christmas gift would be pretty funny. So, or a Christmas costume would be pretty funny. So give it a go. Number 31, wrapping Christmas presents. I could do without this. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't love wrapping Christmas presents. Luckily, my wife's pretty good at it. She does most of it. But if you like that sort of thing and you're a good rapper, I'm not a good rapper, that's something you could definitely try. Now, this is key. Serving a big Christmas breakfast. Every year we have pancakes. That's a tradition. This year, maybe we'll even add to that and have like just a massive Christmas breakfast. Great idea. Nothing better than sitting in your pajamas, watching Christmas movies, listening to Christmas music, opening presents. You got to love that time of the year. Number 33, put out a nutcracker. We have a whole collection of nutcrackers. I do like those. Oh, now this is a good one. Number 34, put up a mistletoe, especially if you maybe have someone that you're hoping to get a kiss from. Putting up that mistletoe gives you the reason to kind of lay one on her or him and kind of get that done. So mistletoe, good idea, especially if you're looking to maybe kiss someone special. Number 35, recreate a family recipe. Wonderful thing. There's nothing better as a kid if you are eating something that you know was your grandmother's recipe or your great grandmother's recipe. So I think recreating a family recipe is a great idea. Number 36, open one present on Christmas Eve. Yes, that's a great idea. We don't generally do that, but I like it. Why not? Why not? Especially if your kids are a little bit older, because if they're younger, Santa Claus hasn't come yet. But if they're older, why not open one on Christmas Eve? Not a bad idea. All right, number 37, personalize your Christmas stockings. We used to do that every year. We would create a new stocking with the children's names on it. We have 4 kids, and we'd put a year on each stocking. So we'd have a new one every year, which was kind of cool. So kind of a cool thing. All right. There's a game where you can play hide the pickle ornament, which I've never done before, but you have like a pickle ornament and you hide it somewhere in the tree and you have to find it. Number 39, read a story together. Amazing. I think it's something that you'll remember forever, especially reading something like 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Number 40, buy Christmas crackers. Okay? I mean, Christmas crackers, Christmas cookies, whatever you want to buy. All a great idea. So anyway, not too bad. I'm at 22 minutes. I'm a little bit over the time I expected to do. But if you listen to my podcast often, you know I love to talk and get off on tangents, right? So let me tell you one last Christmas story before I let you go. We were literally laughing over this last night in my house. There was one year when my third oldest, my son, wanted a drone. That is what he wanted for Christmas more than anything. So he opened his drone on Christmas morning. He was still pretty young at that time. And I was afraid because we live in a house that's set back in the woods, trees surrounding our whole house. So we've got a lot of woods where we live. So I was worried about him getting caught someplace, and he didn't really know how to use it. And at that point, he had a tendency of opening presents very quickly and either losing the parts or breaking them very quickly. So I figured, okay, this is going to be a good dad moment. I'm going to get that drone. We're going to have a father and son moment out in the backyard, flying his drone together on Christmas Day. Does it get any better than that? So we go outside. The whole family's with us. Here I am, John DeVito, or Clark W. Griswold, whatever you want to call me. And I've got the drone on. The batteries are loaded. I turn it on. I hit the button. And all of a sudden, this drone takes off on a beautiful flight that went directly up in the air. I didn't even know how high. It must have gone 100, 200 feet up in the air. I didn't know how to stop it from going up in the air. And then finally, I hit another button. And I don't know if I killed the power or what I did, but this thing landed on top of literally the biggest evergreen tree in our yard, right at the tippity top, and just stayed there. This flight did not last more than 10 seconds. That's how quick it was, and that's how horrible of a job I did navigating the drone. This thing stuck on top of the tree. I look at my son. This was his hallmark present for that Christmas. He started crying. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, here we go. I had this great opportunity for a moment, and I just literally ruined my son's Christmas. So we got over it eventually, and probably 4 years later, I was mowing the lawn, and this drone had fallen finally out of the tree during a windstorm, and we got it back. Of course, it didn't work, but that was even kind of funny. But even though it was a tragedy at the time, last night we were all dying laughing about that. How literally is just the funniest Christmas story that you can tell. So anyway, I've gone way over my time tonight. I'm really sorry about that. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a wonderful Christmas. I hope you had a great Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. Whatever you celebrate, enjoy it to the max. All right. Take care. Have a great night. And thank you for joining the John DeVito Show.